Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to make Eggs Benedict. Take two. Today we're going to make Eggs Benedict. It includes two things that I think some people struggle with: Hollandaise sauce and poached eggs. So we're going to go over those and hopefully teach you how to do this the right way. Alright, so we're going to go over our ingredients and equipment that we will be using today. So we have our English muffins and our Canadian bacon. You can use whatever you'd like, but this is traditional. Yolks to help make the hollandaise, as well as salt and lemon juice. The eggs that we will be poaching, I have them in a couple of ramekins, it makes it much easier to dump them into the water. Melted butter, some loose cold water, white vinegar, and sriracha. And then for equipment, we're going to need to use a slotted spoon or something to get the eggs out of the water. We're going to make a double boiler right here. I'm using a glass bowl. You can use a metal bowl if you'd like. A little whisk, and then we have the water, which also has some vinegar in it. This is the temperature you want. You do not want a rolling boil. You do not want an active moving boil in the pan here, because that'll just destroy the egg. So this is about the temperature you want. Just a little bit of steam coming off the top and no active bubble movement. And then here we have our final pan that we're going to use to make the Canadian bacon, to heat that up. Okay, so we're gonna start making our hollandaise first. So if you come over here, we'll show you what we're gonna do. So we have our double boiler, and then we're gonna take the bowl while it is cold, put it on top of here. We're gonna take our egg yolks, those go in, and then our lemon juice. I've used about a teaspoon here. That's what we're gonna use. You wanna give this a little stir, beat them up. You can come over here and get a little better view. Now, this will take a minute. I can leave this alone for probably about a minute while this is over the hot water here. I don't really have to worry about it too much. What I do want to have on hand, I want to make sure I have on hand some cool water, as well as my melted butter, because I'm going to use these pretty shortly. The water is a little more important than you think. This will help the hollandaise not get too thick eventually. You'll have some issues where if you let it sit too long, it'll kind of dry out, or it'll get too thick, and you'll need to use a little extra water to help bring that back to the right consistency that you want. So we're just going to sit here for a couple of minutes. You want to make sure you be, fairly active with stirring it on here. Once the heat from the double boiler does transfer through the glass, it starts heating up the eggs. You'll notice a change in the consistency. They'll get really fluffy, kind of, almost like foamy when you start to make this. And that's what you want to kind of get. Now, regarding the water, as I mentioned, you're going to use this a little bit to help thin this out, because otherwise it'll get too thick and it's not very good there. It's not a fixed amount. I'm not going to tell you it's a tablespoon, a teaspoon, whatever the case may be. You're just going to have to use your own judgment here, and it kind of depends on how many eggs you have in here. I have 3 yolks, so it's not really a lot. But eventually I will need to use a little water, and you just drizzle a little bit in at a time whenever you need it, and give it a little stir, and you should be good to go. So it's already starting to change consistency a little bit, and you do, at around this point now, you're at probably about a minute or 2 into this, and you do want to make sure you're, consistent with moving it around so that it doesn't just turn into scrambled eggs for you. So you're going to get to a point where the yolks that are on the side of the bowl here start to get a little crunchy, and that is where you want to make sure you start paying attention to the eggs. You don't want to leave it alone. That's when you want to make sure you keep stirring, because otherwise, once again, you'll get scrambled eggs out of this. And that's what you don't want. So this is starting to get much better here. Starting to get a little foaminess, getting a little thicker. I don't know if you can see how well you can see the difference in the texture and consistency here. But it's definitely not just a couple of beaten yolks in here now. We're almost ready to put the butter in, probably just another minute or so. But you can hear it when you whip it. Okay, here we go. This is really starting to change now. It's starting to change real fast. You can see how when I do this, it comes back really slowly. That's actually how you have the, you're splitting it like the Dead Sea here, the Red Sea. Okay, so we're about ready to put a butter in. So I'll reduce the temperature of the double boiler just a little bit because now we've got a good consistency here. Oh yeah, there we go. This is what we want. So once you look at it, once you get to that temp, it starts to thicken real quick. So we're gonna take our melted butter and we're gonna drizzle this in very slowly while we're doing this. We're gonna do a continuous mix while we drizzle that in. Take a little break. Pour it in. So the eggs act as an emulsifier here because we're going to take the fat from the butter, the lemon juice, and the little additional water that we're going to put in. And that makes the Hollandaise right there. That's how you get this nice creamy thickness to it. So, all right, so that is basically Hollandaise right here. We're going to put a little salt in here. I have about a half a teaspoon. I'm going to not put the whole amount in there. I only have 3 yolks. This is small. And then the other thing I'm going to put in is a little sriracha. Now some recipes, quite a lot of them, like to use cayenne as the spicy ingredient here. I don't like the cayenne because I feel that that is hot but doesn't really add any additional depth of flavor. I really like this. Squeeze probably about, you know, whatever you want in there. I think that's about a half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, something like that. And then this is a little thick, so I'm going to put some more water in here. That thins it out quite a bit, and this is okay. Now our Hollandaise is done. What you will now, I'm going to get into the other components of our eggs Benedict, but what I am going to need to do is make sure I keep an eye on this. I'm going to put the heat on the double boiler at the lowest it can be. Still make sure I keep my water in hand because this will dry out and thicken up a little bit while I'm cooking the other items. But in the meantime, that's Hollandaise, and you can see, nice and thin. It's not broken. It's got a nice, good consistency to it. Nice and thick, but not so thick where it would look like it would be breaking up or dry it on you. So there we go. That is Hollandaise sauce. All right, so our next step here is to poach our eggs. So we have our Hollandaise here going over here, and we'll show you what we're gonna do. So we have our water, and we have our eggs here, and our ramekins ready to toss in. I'm gonna make sure I have a timer ready to go because you wanna make sure this is exact. So we're gonna cook these for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna take the ramekin like this, kind of tilt the egg a little bit, put it in the water, and slowly drop it in. I want to disturb the water to the least amount as possible, so you can see that right there. We'll do the same with the other one. Tilt the egg so it's right here, it meets the edge of the water, and pour it right in. And we're gonna set a timer for 5 minutes, and we're good to go. I should note that I did not have the temperature as warm as it should be here. As soon as you put the eggs in, the whites should start to turn a little bit. And once again, while we're doing this, make sure we keep an eye on the Hollandaise. And if you need to, add a little water and stir so that it doesn't thicken up on you too much. One other thing you may want to do is before you put your poached eggs in the water, have your English muffins in the toast oven going already, because those take about 5 minutes. You want to have that done before your poached eggs are coming out of the water, so you can plate everything right away. And after we put the eggs in, while those are poaching, we're gonna cook our ham. Here we have some nice Canadian bacon. We're gonna cook a couple slices in there. This won't take very long to cook. We only need a few minutes before the eggs are done. All right, so you can see the eggs here. They're almost done. You can see how there's this like white skirt around them here. That's something that you won't end up using. The main part of the egg will be the bit that's like right here, right there. And you don't have to worry about this because that's not gonna come out of the water with the eggs. Okay, so it looks like everything's done. We're gonna plate our food here. So we've got our English muffins on our plate. We're gonna take our Canadian bacon, put it on top of the English muffins. I'm gonna take our, fighting me here. I'm gonna use, oh, I busted the yolk. I'm gonna take our eggs, plate them. And then we're gonna take a little hollandaise sauce, put that right on top. We're gonna grab a little spoon here, or a ladle. And we're gonna pour that right over. Eggs Benedict. And that is Eggs Benedict. So something really nice to have. Great little Sunday brunch. Valentine's Day is coming up on a Sunday this year. So maybe that's something you could do for them. So we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot and have a good one. Hey, Clyde.
It's okay, I'm kidding.
Okay.